Good evening, America. Rabbi Block here. Do you do mitzvah? I don't know what BPEJ means. Do you do mitzvah? BPEH? Thank you for calling me your favorite rabbi. I'm doing good. Oh, yes, in New Jersey. I think you may be getting this storm, a nor'easter coming up the coast Friday night, probably Saturday and Sunday, so we have to be prepared. I know we've had enough of snow. What does the Talmud say? The Talmud doesn't talk about Jesus. There's no discussion of Jesus. The Talmud is the recorded notes of a group of rabbis in the academy discussing Mishnah. And when they discuss the Mishnah, people bring in extraneous things in the discussion that sometimes you read and you shake your head and you go, what? And then other times you go, oh, that's really neat what they brought in. The Talmud is not a Jewish philosophy book, a theology book, and it's not binding on anyone. It presents the minority and majority opinions on discussions about Mishnah, oral laws of which there are thousands. And so why does the Talmud contradict so much of the Torah? That's a really neat question because it's not so much contradictory as trying to explain the Torah in the terms of people living in Babylon, in the understanding of the rabbis, how to apply it. And we understand that the Torah is truth and it's not true. It's not a historic document listing names and dates of people. It tells the story of the history of the Hebrew people's relationship with God and their journeys. And so it's like someone taking a journey or a diary on the Oregon Trail, crossing the United States. And they write down feelings and emotions. And so in the Talmud, the rabbis are trying to understand what all these rules and regulations mean for their time. And they envision the Talmud to be ongoing. They envision there to be a Talmud through all generations and not be frozen. They did not envision that people would say, this is what the Talmud says, you have to do that. They never envisioned what Haredi and the ultra-Orthodox do. And this business of circumcision and some bizarre customs is not common among Jews. It may be true for a small group, but we don't teach it, we don't profess it, we don't argue for it. In fact, we're against it. It's kind of silly. And so the Talmud is rabbinic discussion of different laws, and many times it makes no sense. Many times the discussion has nothing to do with helping me understand prayers, when to recite the prayers. And so they envision that continuing, scholars, not just rabbis, but scholars would discuss how do you apply the experiences of the Hebrews, the teachings from a particular time and place to the 21st century. That's the question. Do you know what side of Jewish practice that and where it's primarily performed? No, I don't. And as to who wrote the Talmud, we have the lists of the names of the rabbis, the dates, and it's very, very extensive. So it's not one individual. And there were groups that would give comments under the name of one rabbi. And so when it would say that Rabban Gamliel used to say, or Rabbi Akiba used to say, we know he didn't say that personally. It was his students speaking his name, like Socrates and Aristotle. Much of what we attribute to them were their students, talking in the name of their teacher as a sign of respect. It's the ultimate respect. So in terms of who wrote it, they were scholars. And yes, I look up things in the Talmud all the time to help me understand the teachings, the Torah, the Mishnah. And that's why I say sometimes it's very helpful. Sometimes you shrug your shoulders and you go, yeah, that applied 5,000 years ago. I can't do much with it, but I can look at their reasoning, and then I can apply their reasoning to new situations. And that's the goal of the Talmud. Not to freeze Judaism, not to freeze ritual. That would be a disastrous mistake. But to teach us how to understand and, like keeping the Sabbath. What does it mean to keep the Sabbath? Take one day out of the week and put it aside. I don't think it means staying in a building, reciting words and mumbling. I don't think that's what it means. It may mean going to a park. It may mean taking your dog. It may mean being with your family. The concept of a day of rest is to give us a day outside our routine. Now, in the Torah, they described what people did then. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have dogs. There's lots of things they didn't have. They didn't have automobiles. And so, of course, they're not going to discuss it. But given the 21st century, we want to look and say, how do I don't hate Islam. I love questions like that. I would ask Nini 4551, have you stopped beating your partner? It's a yes or no question, please. Answer yes or no. Have you stopped beating your partner? I'm waiting. You just asked that about Christians. Well, I'll say the same question to you, Nini. Have you stopped beating your dog? Have you started abusing animals? Yes or no? I'm fascinated by the way you're wording things. No race is inferior, no race is superior. God, in her wisdom, created human beings in his image. I don't know what that means, but what it does mean is we're all equal. No superiority, no hate, no I was here first or I'm better than you are. No, I'm not Chabad, though I have a very close friend who's Chabad, and I do go to the Chabad website, and I learn a lot from Chabad. Okay. My favorite bagel shop is in Olney, the Royal Bakery, close to a New York bagel. Keep in mind that Panera and other places, they're not bagels. They're bagel-shaped. They're round, have a hole. They're not boiled in potato water. They don't follow the traditional bagel recipe. I'm a Bostonian, and the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. Thank you for asking me that. You heard it. I don't know the point spread yet. I'll tell you that shortly. But we have it. Okay? There are a lot of misconceptions. There are a lot of... Some things are anti-Semitic. Some I find are just ignorance. Some of the questions are really honest, asking questions out of ignorance. Others, gematria. Pizza, I'm a big fan of gematria. I'm a big fan of the Jewish mystic tradition. There are many ways to understand the one. And the mystics, using numbers and Hebrew letters and word combinations, hope and teach us how to unlock some things that might be mysteries. However, nobody has 100% on anything. And sometimes it is very far-fetched, and sometimes it's abused. If you give me your Hebrew name, the date of your birth on the Hebrew calendar, I can use gematria to tell you time of death, illness, other things. How accurate I am, not sure, because people haven't come back to me. And I haven't any good testing on it, but following the tradition. Yes, go Patriots. Don't Don't you think it's strange that May, our new quarterback, may be half the age of Brady? I think Brady was 42. You might look that up for me. I think Brady was 42 when he retired. I think May is only 21. I'm not sure where I got that from, so I'd appreciate if someone would research that for me while I'm talking and let me know about his age. I have to admit, when I watch the Patriots, the quarterback looks like a 12-year-old, but I know he's not. No, he's not. How do I stop being anti-Semitic? Meet Jews, talk with Jews, meet me in my Zoom room, ask me questions, take me to dinner. Let's go to Panera Bread for lunch or breakfast. One of the things that dissolves hate is meeting people, whether it's hating Roman Catholics or Baptists or Protestants or blacks or anyone. It's much harder to maintain an anti-attitude when you have relationships with that group of people. Oh, he's 23, thank you. I was close. I said 21. He's 23. And was Brady 42 when he retired? Please look that up for me now so I can get that straight. Oh, 48. Okay, so I'm pretty close. I had the numbers, remember, I'm 80, so I get things slightly off. So May is 23, Brady's 48, but he's been retired for, 1 year now? So it was 47? So the new quarterback is half the age of Brady. Boggles my little mind. Yes, most of my interfaith weddings are with a priest or a minister. And I have done hundreds. And I've done them in churches on Saturdays and Sundays. I also do baby namings and christenings with priests and ministers. 45 when he retired. Okay, so I'm pretty close. Thank you, Darcy. I'm pretty close when I said he's half Brady's age, right? I was pretty close. And to go back to the best way to deal with our feelings, I did a couple of weddings with imams. And the most memorable weddings I have were Jewish Muslim weddings, working with imams. Islam is related to Judaism. We're sisters, we're brothers and sisters, whatever you would want to, however you want to phrase it. Now, to educate you on the Talmud, send me an email. We'll meet in my Zoom room because we're going to have to set aside some time for that. It's not a quick, easy answer, other than saying it's rabbinic commentary, it's rabbinic discussion. Zionism and Judaism. Zionism is a political movement. Judaism is a religion. Not all of us are political Zionists. Not all of us support the present policy of the State of Israel, though we support a State of Israel. But Judaism is a religion. It was around before the State of Israel. It was around for thousands of years. A group of individuals decided to form a political entity called the State of Israel. And as we all know, look at Ukraine, a country has to do things that many of us don't approve of in order to stay a country. No, I don't think Israel's controlling the U.S. I don't think anyone's controlling the U.S. I think the United States is out of control. I am not thrilled with either Democrats or Republicans. I think they're both off base. And anti-Semitism has been around, will be around. He said to me, why there are so many verses from different rabbis that are disgusting. There are many disgusting rabbis. Look, if you are taking a class, high school, college, graduate school, you have study groups. Someone's taking notes for that subject. Possibly your study group, as a group, is taking the same following around for 5 or 6 different classes, but each study group has a different person writing the notes. And depending on who's keeping the notes, they may put in things that are disgusting. They may say things that are ridiculous. So we don't want to think that everything written in the Talmud is gospel. Get it? We don't want to think that everything in the Talmud we have to believe or adhere to. No. Many of the rabbis plugged things in, put things, said things that if we could watch, their colleagues would just shake their head because they're not discussed. But whoever was taking the notes felt obligated to write everything down. It's called a verbatim. Now, some discussions in the Talmud, who took the notes, are very cryptic. It's not only that they didn't write down everything that was said, what they wrote down you can't understand. Too much schnapps, probably. Not paying enough attention. Reform, or if you like, progressive, or if you like, liberal. My ordination is from the Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion. Okay? Now you're commenting on my handwriting, and I'm sorry people do. I have 2 forms of arthritis, osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, and it's very bad in my hands. I'll bring them down. Rubbing hands increases the circulation and decreases the pain. People have commented that on that before, because I do, and it's not a sign of being nervous or worried, because some people attribute, it's not. I have arthritis, and I can't massage my toes. It's not that simple, but I'm in pain with both the rheumatoid and the osteo. Remember, they're very, very different. Osteoarthritis comes with age. It's the wear and tear on the joints, like an old car. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease, and I'm on several different medications for that. Orthodoxy doesn't resonate with me. I kept kosher for 10, 12, 15 years. I used to lay tefillin. I daven 3 times a day. But I found it didn't resonate. It didn't bring me closer to the one. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with Israel's expansion into the West Bank, becoming a colonial power, and it didn't go well for the Maccabees, for the Hashemite kingdom. The Hashemite kingdom, the Hasmonean kingdom, the Hashemites are somebody else. The Hasmonean kingdom did not do well with its expansionism. And Israel today is doing exactly what the Hasmoneans did. Maybe you know them as the Maccabees because of Hanukkah. But once the battles were over and the Hasmoneans became the ruling power, they expanded, and it was an unmitigated disaster. And so I would present that to Israel today, that we already have a lesson of this colonial expansionism as politics. Don't do it. Won't have a good outcome. No, you may, listen, there may be a Jew who thinks other people are lesser. I know Roman Catholics who think Protestants are lesser people. I know Protestants that think Roman Catholics are lesser. So don't extrapolate. Don't take the view, even if you hear it on TikTok, even if you see a YouTube, don't expand it and say, well, I heard a rabbi and he said, no, don't do that, because it's just not true. If you want, I can find a lot of people that hate Roman Catholics. So, they're people. Okay? And therefore, we don't want to attribute to a group what some individuals are teaching. Is the Torah considered divinely inspired? The Torah is truth, and it's not true. It's human beings understanding the divine, not God dictating it, like listening to the radio. It's individuals having a spiritual experience and relating that spiritual experience. Park this away. Sacred literature is truth, and it's not true. Don't get bogged down in the sin of literal-mindedness. Don't get bogged down in trying to find, was it true? Yes. Jews, Judaism, Islam, Allah, Adonai, El, different names for a divine being. And they're cultural names. They come through our culture and the way we live. There is only one. And the one presented in many ways so there'd be something for all of us. Follow the 10 Commandments. You can follow the 10 Commandments without being Jewish. Besides, the 10 Commandments are really the 10 utterances. And we have to take a look and see the context, who is being addressed. And it's not quite as simple as many of us want to believe. Mm-hmm. And again, let's be careful of literalness. Say the Shema in the morning and in the evening. When one lies down, one rises up. And sometimes if I'm really nervous or worried, I'll use the Shema as a mantra and keep reciting it over and over to calm myself down. Mm-hmm. And there are lots of ways to take any sacred literature and come up with lots of conclusions. The question for each of us is, does it make sense to me? Does it resonate? Not to me, but to you, me. I'm not the final arbitrator, but you are. And the idea that you're onto something that I'm not, that's really, really neat. Please, rabbiblock@hotmail.com, send me an email. I like to know what people are reading, what they're understanding, and what conclusions they reach, as opposed to quoting a piece or a verse or a section and then making it fit into a worldview of some kind. I can take Nostradamus' predictions and make all of them come true, and I can take all of them and make none of them come true. How curious. If you have a question about your health and want a spiritual answer, please email me. This isn't something that is open for public discussion. This is more of a private question you're asking, and I'd be glad to address it. And I keep moving because the questions are in white, and as long as it's on the black part of I can read it, but as soon as it scrolls up, I lose the question. And of course my beard's white, so that makes it even harder to read the text. So if you see me bouncing up and down and around, that's what I'm doing. I'm centering the text. I often, you'll notice, wear a black shirt, black athletic shirts, tees. I'll wear something all black so I don't have to keep bouncing around. But it's cold, and I'm cold, and my Spidey shirt is very warm, and I really like it. And we'll see about the destruction. We'll see about the coming. There's all kinds of predictions. I did a couple of podcasts and a YouTube entirely on predictions different religions have made about coming events. None of them happened. Particularly among Jehovah's Witnesses and the Seventh-day Adventists. They kept predicting the end of the world and the second coming. We just had it, a year or so ago. Didn't happen. The rapture didn't happen, and they predicted it. Then they re-predicted it 6 months later, and it didn't happen. And so we want to really be, we really want to be careful about, I have the hiccups, outside of services, what you love to do on the Sabbath. Walk, be outside, nature, God, quiet. That's the best Sabbath. I used to sail. My arthritis and other things, I've passed out of my sailing phase. My scuba dive, I trained to be an instructor. I was an assistant scuba diver instructor for many years. I love classic rock and roll. Also, classic country and western. So, and Beethoven. Classical music, if you were to ask me my favorite genre of music, it would be classical. And it would be Beethoven. Though I do like, as I mentioned, classic rock and roll, and I like country and western. But given choices many times, I put on classical music. That's what I like. Okay. We never removed Isaiah 53. Come on, get off it. Again, you're wording the question in a derogatory way. If you would like, Robbie, to discuss the prophecies of Isaiah, I would be thrilled. You can join, we can co-host. Come on, Robbie. RabbiBlock@hotmail.com. We'll meet in my Zoom room. We'll get our passages together. And next Wednesday, on Good Evening America, we're going to not debate, we're going to study together the book of Isaiah. There you have it. So stop asking the same questions all over again. You're going to be my co-host. The most important prayer is your prayer from your heart. Remember, there are rules about organized prayers, about organized worship. There are no rules about prayer. You can pray for a new car, pray for health, anything you want. There are no rules. There are rules for community worship. There are rules for prayers that take place as a group. But individually, prayer is kibitzing with God. It's your conversation. Have a conversation with the one. However you want. And blessings. We have a blessing for everything in Judaism. That's why in Fiddler on the Roof, when someone says there's a blessing for the czar, it's supposed to be funny because there's a blessing for everything. We have a blessing when you see an ugly person. Yes, we do. And we have a blessing when you see a rainbow. And there's a blessing when you acquire something new. It could be used. You could have bought it in the Goodwill store. But for you, it's new. So when I say there's a blessing when you acquire something new, it doesn't mean it was never owned by anyone. It's new to you. There's a blessing when you get up in the morning that your organs are working properly. Blessings for everything. Everything. Okay? And again, Isvor, you can co-host with me next week. I'll be glad to talk about the Messiah and the intertestamental period. I've found it fascinating, however, for those of you asking me those questions, that no one has contacted me to co-host with me. Everyone just throws these things out to, what, annoy? To impress me? Are you that much of a kindergarten child that you keep raising your hand, pick on me, pick on me? It's coming to the end of our time together. I would be remiss. For those who are asking questions about Isaiah, the answer's in my book. For those who are asking questions about Islam and Judaism, the answers are in my book. It's available wherever good books are sold. Thank you for spending your time with me. Hopefully you'll join me next Wednesday night at 8.